everyone. Hello, sis. How we doing? Hi. You're okay? Yeah, I was just faffing about. That's all I was doing. I was here, but I was faffing. How are you, sis? Are you okay? Good evening. Welcome to True Crime with Jess Rose. It's Jess Rose Day. Yay. If you're watching tomorrow, it is a live, so I will periodically be talking to people who are commenting. Obviously, the comments don't show the next day, so it's you won't see it, but I'm not just talking to myself, I promise. Hi, lovely. Hi, Laura. Hi, Hayley. How are we doing? How are we all? Are you ready for this one? Are you ready? I'm going way back on this one. I'm going way back on it. Well, I say way back. Hi, Kelly. How you doing? Look at you all here on time. And in fact, you were here before me, a few of you, but thank you. Hi, Phil. Happy Jess Rose Day. It is. That's what day it is. Love Thursdays. Yeah, I've been looking to see if I could find one that possibly you haven't heard of. Now, I know you all probably have because you're all as interested in this stuff as me, but I was going out of my way to hopefully find one you haven't. Now, if you watch Mr. Borland, you would have heard of it. But if you don't, then there might be the slightest chance you might not have heard of this one. So we're going to give it a go. It's the brutal Michele Avila story. Now, although her name is Michele, she's known as Missy in everything I've seen of her. So for the story, I'm going to call her Missy. I haven't heard of that for Michele, actually. I haven't heard of the nickname Missy for Michele, but that was her nickname, so that's what we're going to go by. So, are we all ready? Should we start? So I think we should start now. Okay, so the brutal Michele Avila story. Now, I have put in there when friends turn on there, but it'll all become clear. So, okay, so Missy, she was born on the 8th of February 1968. Told you we were going back. I did tell you. In LA, in California. Oh, God, Phil, I've started and I want to tell you now. Okay, if you're watching tomorrow, please bear with me because I have to. How could I not mention this? Okay, Emma Kenny last week. So if you are watching tomorrow, please bear with me. I am going to carry on, but I went to see Emma Kenny last week. And, okay, Laura was with me, who's on the live now. And, oh my God, she's amazing. She's everything you see on the TV. Like, she's no different. She's very, really entertaining. I mean, she spoke for, I think it was over 2 hours. I'm sure it was over 2 hours. But let me just tell you about how it was. We got there. It was at the Alexandra Theatre in Birmingham. And when we got there, I didn't realise, but we were actually kind of we were in the ambassador suite. No, Phil, it's fine. I can't believe I forgot to mention it. So, yeah, we were in the ambassador suite. So we got up there, and I don't know if anyone's done this, but I felt like royalty because you're sort of going, you've got your own little server that comes over looking all dapper. And sort of we got brought into this private, it's really hard to explain, like a long bar with just very intimate lighting and seating. And you just you could sit there. They come over and took your order. Not only did they take your drinks order for right then they take your drinks order if you wanted to bring a drink into the auditorium, as they call it. Then they'd take a drinks order for what you wanted when you came out in the half time. That's football. Half time, the break. And then, yeah, and then you could bring it in with you. Oh, so that was amazing anyway. And then, so we get there, we do that. You can leave all your stuff in this room. We had private, like, washroom type thing as well, so we didn't have to queue. All of that was excellent. So then we go through to actually see a mechanic. We're in the third row in the centre, so she was right there. And basically, if you imagine a cinema screen, so just this huge screen in front of you, and then she kind of came onto the stage, and she was oh yeah, she I will say she's tiny. She's diddy. She's really, and she's just had a baby like 3 months ago, and she's about this big, like, just beautiful looking woman. And yeah, she just went into it was obviously about serial killers, so she spoke about Ted Bundy and Eileen Warnes, and just different types of serial killers and psychopaths, and whether you're a oh, Laura will know the word into this now, whether you're a kind of a tidy psychopath or a messy psychopath. I know that wasn't the wording she used. And she asked us a question when we got there, and she says, "Are you the eldest?" Which me and Laura are. So we put our hands up, and apparently we are organised or disorganised killers. That's right. Okay. So me and Laura, being the eldest, would have been an organised type psychopath. And then she done like a video of 3 people walking down like an alley, and she wanted you to watch the clip of, there was first a woman who looked quite assertive, then a man, and then a young girl. And to me, it seemed quite obvious, I'm not going to lie, over who, if you were a psychopath, who would you take your chances with, basically. And I thought it was obvious it'd be the third one. Not so obvious. A lot of people put their hands up to the other ones, and apparently, being the eldest, you could spot that because you might be empathetic, or you might just be a psychopath. So it's very, very interesting. It really was. And if she does come around your area where you are, wherever you are in the country, I so recommend going to see her. She's so engaging. It really, really was an amazing evening. And although we didn't get to meet Emma herself, we did get to meet her husband. So I didn't actually know him. I'm so embarrassed. I didn't know him. His name's Justin. But Laura knew who he was, and Laura's quite outgoing, and she can just approach, and she was great. So I was just loitering behind going, "Hi." So yeah, that was me, kind of behind. So yeah, that was embarrassing because I was like, do I say hi? But yeah, amazing. And then she has like her merch, which I'm not really a merch buyer, I've got to admit. I've bought it for my kids, but I've never bought anything for myself. And I think Laura bought The Serial Killer Next Door, and I bought Do Not Comply. Now, I haven't got it on. I should have had it on, but I'll be honest, I've had it on earlier on this week. So I haven't got it on this evening, but I'll wear it next week for you. It's just a red hoodie, but it's Emma Kenny merch, so I'm very proud to wear it. So yes, so that was our trip to see Emma Kenny, and like I say, if you do get the opportunity, I so recommend it. I genuinely do. She's very, very engaging. You did see crime scene photos. You were warned before they would come up, but that interests me. It does. Do not comply, Warwick. Yes, absolutely. That's what it says. Do not comply. And if you're wondering what all that's about, she spoke about that when some serial killers are obviously never going to get out of prison. They're never going to get out. When you interview them, they're more obviously they're more open to talk about their crimes because they want you to know about them. They're very proud of them. So one bit of advice, I suppose. I don't know whether you should accept advice from a serial killer, but it does make sense. And what they said, and she relayed to us, was if ever you're in a position where, in a kidnap situation or anything else, and touch wood, that doesn't happen to any of us. But these serial killers basically said, do not comply, ever. Scream, shout, kick, punch, whatever you have to do. Because it said that in their mind, they come up with their scenario, their ideal scenario of what they want to do with you. And you kicking off is not part of that scenario. It's not in their mind of where they see this going. So they tend to approach people who are going to do as they're told and are a bit more timid. And and you do hear from the other side that if you do as you're told, you've got a chance of getting out. But no, I haven't heard that advice from anyone kind of in that field. To say, because I've always heard lose your mind if anyone says scream, shout, run, the whole shebang. So yes, do not comply, ever. So that was the bit of advice I took from it. I did. Although I've got to admit, I have had some funny looks wearing the jumper. I am going to get on with the story in a second, but I have had some funny looks wearing the jumper. Given the political air in our country at the moment, the fact that I've got do not comply in big writing on my jumper, in a red jumper, yeah, I'm getting some really funny looks, and I couldn't understand why. And then someone happened to say to me, well, it looks political. I was like, oh, but I paid money for that, and I don't care. I don't care. I'm wearing it. I paid money for it. I know what it means. And it wasn't political, at least I don't believe so. Well, it wasn't. She told us what it was about. So if anyone wants to come and ask me about it, I'll tell them. But other than that, they can just assume what they want. I don't care. Do not comply. So, right, okay, let's start again now that I've filled you all in on a very exciting evening. And it really was. It was amazing. Okay. So, why did I say his name was Justin? Oh, God. Oh, it's even worse. Did I say his name was Justin a minute ago? I'm sorry, Peter. I don't think I called him Justin. I don't think I said anything to him, so I didn't mess up there. But, oh, God, was it Peter? Why did I think his name was Justin? Do you know, it's fine. It doesn't surprise me that I've got his name wrong. That's just, I have no words. I can't believe I got his name wrong. Here I am singing his wife's praises, and I haven't even got his name right. I did say Justin. I thought I did. I don't know where I got that from. His media coming dusted. Oh, dusted. That doesn't even sound like Justin, though. Oh, God. Well, okay, Peter. We met Peter. And, do you know, it's fine. She's not going to see it, so it's okay. Yeah, I did say Justin. I know. Okay, husband Peter. I can't even click this because it's live and it's out there, so I've got it wrong. But Emma, if you ever see this, I apologise for calling your husband Justin. I'm sorry. Or Peter. Wouldn't that be ace if she ever watched the video? Not after me misnaming her husband, but okay, I've redeemed myself, I feel. Right, we're going to move on now. So, the brutal Michele Avila story. Okay, so I've already said that her nickname by her family and everyone that everyone knows that is Missy. I don't think she would love me, Tiffany. I genuinely don't think she would. I just messed up her husband's name. But okay, so Missy's mum's name's Irene Avila, and Missy, like I said, born on the 8th of February 1968 in LA, California. And she, just a very sweet girl. She's tiny girl. And as she's growing up, she you know, she blossoms, let's say, like she's got this beautiful long hair. And you know, just very petite feature. She's just a beautiful girl. She's got two best friends called Karen Severson and Laura Doyle. And they met Missy. Well, they all met in primary school at about aged about 8 or 9. It's a very little, you know, small but very close knit circle of friends. Now, when they get to high school, they go to San Fernando High School in California. So when they're in their freshman year, now I am going to say in the American year group thing, obviously, as is years 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But they do, obviously, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. When they get to high school, it's all very confusing. But, so, we fast forward, slowly we get to high school with Missy. And in her freshman year, she's obviously very close with Karen and Laura. They've got another friend called Eva. Little small group. But around this time, Missy's starting to blossom, like I say, and she's dinky. She's 4'10", I believe. So she's a tiny girl. She's about 90 pounds in weight. You know, her friends are, I think, taller, you know, bigger built, whatever. She stands out because she's tiny, if you get what I mean. In her freshman year, they're all friends. Everything's going well. In her sophomore year, now, so we've now gone to, I believe sophomore year would make her about 16. Sort of 15, 16. A rumour starts to go around the school, a really unfair rumour, to be honest, that she's sleeping with all these boys in school. Now, Missy wasn't like that. She wasn't that type of girl, even though she was very attractive, very popular. Apparently, she was a very sweet girl. And although boys did like her, girls liked her too. You know, they wanted to be her friend too. And like I say, she wasn't like that. Everything I've learned about her, she wasn't like that. And so this rumour goes round, she's sleeping with these boys. But the boys she was accused of sleeping with happen to have girlfriends. And these girlfriends don't take too kindly to these rumours. Now, I do wonder what the lads involved said, whether they were winding their girlfriends up or they denied it. I'm not too sure. I don't know about that side, but the girls certainly did. The girlfriends of these boys certainly did believe it. And they got Missy outside of school and they really, really gave her a hiding. They really did. They this girl's, like I say, I can't emphasise enough, 4'10" at 16 she's a little girl, in stature. And they really gave her a hiding. So when she got home from school afterwards and she walks in and she's quite badly beaten, parents take one look at her. Like I say, mum's called Irene. Irene looks and she's like, no, straight down to the police station. So they take her to the police station. She presses charges. She does. But the case itself against these girls, and there's mainly one ringleader apparently, it's taking its time. So she goes back into school and she tries to, you know, just pick herself back up again. And she doesn't know where this rumours came from, why it came around. It could only be like a jealousy thing, because it certainly wasn't true. Her friends console her, Karen and Laura, they console her, they're there for her. They feel bad that they wasn't there when this hiding was taking place. You know, it's all a whole big thing. So that was sophomore year, okay? So now we get to junior year. So at this point, she's 17 now. And she has a relationship with a lad called Randy, only for about a month. What happened to that name, Randy? You don't hear that anymore, do you? Kind of a good thing, I think, but anyway. So she goes out with this Randy for about a month, and he likes to party. I think he's a bit of a drinker, you know, when they're out and stuff. And she doesn't like that. That's what I'm saying. She genuinely wasn't that type of girl. She wasn't a party girl, you know, promiscuous or anything else like that. So she finishes with him. No, I don't know. I don't know about you, but especially in school, but ever really, especially so soon afterwards. But straight after Missy and Randy finish, Karen starts going out with him, her friend, her best friend. She starts going out with him. I just had to question it. I just thought it was a bit odd. So, she starts seeing him, and apparently they go into get an apartment together or something. So it's all quite fast paced. Anyway, they're all at a party one evening, and he pulls Missy down onto his lap in full view of Karen. Of course, Karen's fuming at this. So Missy, you know, shouts to him, you know, what are you playing at? And he's telling her, you know, I want you back. I want to be with you. She says absolutely not. She's got no interest in him. And not only that, she goes to Karen afterwards and she says, look, this is what he said to me. Hi, Mum. How you doing? Just sort of talking about the different relationships of everyone in it. So she goes to Karen and she says, I don't think you should be with this guy. This is what he's done. You know, he's tried to come back on, you know, try it back on with me. He's not good for you. And Missy was coming at it from as a friend and just saying, look, he's no good. He's no good for you. So Karen doesn't take it that way. Karen takes it really badly, actually. And she basically believes everything this Randy's saying to her, because obviously he must have said, no, I would never. I've been there, I've done that. I would never have come on to her, even though she would have seen him pull Missy down onto his lap at that party. But she believes what Randy says, and she approaches Missy, and she's very angry, and she's going, you're flirting with him and you're trying it on with him. And Missy's like, what is going on? Laura's there trying to stop what's going on. But Karen's lost the plot. Karen's really lost her temper in this, and she punches Missy, her best friend. She punches her, and apparently she lunged at her with a broken bottle outside of school. So you can imagine if your best friend did that, the relationship's really not going to be the same again, because Missy wasn't confrontational. She would never have fought back. And it just stepped over a line, you know, of the friendship that they had, that she'd actually put her hands on Missy. Laura obviously is in the middle. She doesn't quite know what to do. These are her two best friends. I don't think she believes that Missy did come on to Randy, but obviously Karen's very upset about it. So it's a whole big mess. So the two girls do have a big falling out, and Missy's very upset about it, and Laura doesn't know what to do. She's caught in the middle of them. So we come up to October the 1st, 1985. And Missy comes home from school, and she says to her mum, I'm going to go out with a few of my friends. And her mum says, that's fine, be back at 6 o'clock. So Missy's okay. It's not unusual to her mum. Missy, like I say, she's a very popular girl, and she's got a small group of best friends, but she's got a big, wider group of friends / acquaintances and everything else. But it wasn't unusual to her mum for her to say, I want to go out. So Laura calls for her, and Laura drives, so she picks her up in her car and stuff. And like I say, she says to Missy, you got to be back by 6 o'clock. So at 7 o'clock that night, Laura phones Missy's mum. She says, oh, is Missy back? So now you can imagine Missy's mum being a little bit confused by this and saying, but she went out with you. And Laura's like, listen, I've got to tell you something. When we got to the park. We drove around for a bit and we went to the park. When we got there and we parked up, we were just looking around to see if there's any people that we knew, you know, to hang out with and stuff. Over the other side of the car park, there was a blue Camaro. I don't know what a Camaro is. I'm not going to pretend to. I've seen a picture of the car. It looks like it looks a little bit like our version of. Do you remember the old Escorts, the really old Escorts? Look, you know the car you used to draw when you were in junior school. Looks like one of them. So there's this blue Camaro, and there's 3 lads there. So Missy says, Laura originally says to Missy, look, I need to go and get some petrol. And she goes to drive off. And Missy's like, no, leave me here. I know these lads. Come back and get me. And so Laura's like, okay. Doesn't think anything of it. Like I say, Missy knows a lot of people. So Missy, off she goes to where these lads are. And Laura notices that they are smoking. She can't quite work out if they're drinking. They look kind of bad boy types, but she can't tell a lot from the distance from where she was. So she drives off to get the petrol, and she tells Missy's mum that when she come back, Missy's gone, the 3 lads are gone, and the car's gone. And that's when she's looking around the park. She can't see any of them. She gets back in a car. She drives around for a bit. Can't see anyone. So she goes back to her house, and that's why it's 7 o'clock before she's phoning Missy's mum saying, is she home yet? So, of course, although Mrs. Mum, I've got to stop calling her Mrs. Mum, Irene, although Irene was concerned, all I can think about is it was the time frame. She does phone around a couple of Missy's friends to see if they've seen her, but she's not mega concerned. It did surprise me, but then I thought it's 1985. She's 17 years old. One of her friends has already moved out in an apartment with a boyfriend. So when Missy doesn't come home, the alarm bells haven't really started ringing yet. So they wait all night, Missy's family does. And in the morning, when there's still no sign of her, there is a concern now. So Irene goes to the police. She brings Laura with her because obviously Laura saw these lads that Missy had gone to speak to. So she tells them everything she can, but Laura said, look, I was quite a distance. I was quite, I was quite far away from these lads. I couldn't see them. So I can tell you that the car was a Camaro, and I can tell you it was blue, but I can't really tell you much about the lads themselves. So she gave like a brief outline of, what they vaguely looked like, but there wasn't much detail to go on. So the police start looking around for Missy. They start a search. Also, Irene and her friends and Missy's friends start a separate search as well. Everyone's going out, looking at the park they're in and the surrounding areas. And no one can find Missy. And it's just not like her. The family know at this point there's something really bad going on here, because there's no way she'd have not at least got in contact. She would have at least phoned. And obviously there's no phone call or anything else. So we get to October the 4th, so 3 days later. And there are some, not hunters, like people out in this wooded forest, about 45 minutes away from where Missy lives. And it's called, I will tell you what the forest is called. It's called the Big Tujunga Canyon in the National Forest. And these people are walking, they're men walking around. And they see something in a stream. Can't quite make out what it is. And as they get a bit nearer, they can see like this log across this stream. but just under the log. Now, this stream's only about 8 inches deep. So when I say stream, it's like it's not deep at all. And there's Missy, deceased under the log. Oh, and it was just, it was obviously devastating for Irene. It was devastating for Karen and Laura. When the police came to look at the area where Missy had been found, there was beer cans, there was cigarette nubs left around, there was men's overalls left around. She was fully dressed, but she had, her arms were tied behind her back. She was face down in the water, and like I say, this log, which it was said weighed about 100 pounds. So this log was actually heavier than Missy herself, had been put on her neck to keep her under the water. So of course this national outcry comes out then for these lads, even just to get rid of them as witnesses to her. They needed to find these lads where they were. So they call Laura back in again. So can you remember anything else? She's like, look, I was so far away from them, and she's crying and she's devastated. Karen, although she'd had this fight with Missy, they'd been friends since they were 8 years old. She was devastated, coming round to the family's house, offering to help any way she could. Everyone was just so upset about it. And what they found was, do you remember I said she loved her hair? She had this beautiful, it was said she wasn't vain at all, but she did have this beautiful long hair, and it had all been hacked off. She'd obviously been beaten and then forcibly drowned in this stream. So it was a very brutal murder of this young girl. And the police are looking for these 3 lads. They don't, the only witness they've got is Laura. They don't know what to. Irene's obviously devastated. It's just devastation for the whole time, because, like I say, Missy was very well known. She was very well liked, and no one knew who would do this to this girl, this poor, teeny girl. So the police keep looking, and the case starts to run cold. And we go 3 years later. I'm fast tracking 3 years. They've had no further leads. The police, the case has run cold. They didn't know what else to do. The family are devastated because there's been no justice for Missy at all. They don't know. They still don't get how this has happened, why this has happened. It's still just a devastating time for everyone, but 3 years goes by. So now we come up to the 26th of July, 1988, and a young girl called Eva, do you remember I says she was also a friend of Missy, Laura and Karen? She goes into the police station. Her surname's Eva Chirumbolo. Spell that, Tiff. Chirumbolo, I think it is. But Eva, she goes into the police station and she tells them a very different story. Okay, you ready? Okay. And after the story that she told, the police go straight out and they arrest Laura and Karen. And I'm about to tell you what actually happened on the 1st of October, 1985. So, Laura did pick up Missy, as with the story had started out. She did pick up Missy, and they did go to the park. That's what they did. But what they'd actually planned to do was meet up with Karen and Eva, because Karen and Missy had made up. Now, after Karen had hit Missy and we thought, they'd never make friends again or anything else. Missy really missed Karen. She really did. And Laura, for her part, was trying to sort the friendship back out. So when Laura picked up Missy from her house, she said, we're going to meet Karen. So they get to the park. But while they're parked there, now remember, there is no blue Camaro. There is no three lads. That didn't happen. Karen pulls in to the car park, but she comes in very very angrily. She skids right up to Laura's car. She's got Eva in the passenger seat, Missy's in Laura's passenger seat, Laura's on this side, Karen's on this side. So Missy and Eva wind down their windows because the cars are right next to each other, and Karen starts blasting Laura, shouting at her, screaming at her. And Missy and Eva across the cars are kind of looking at each other like, what's going on? Next thing you know, Laura starts screaming back at Karen, and they are saying the most vile things to each other across the cars. And Missy and Eva are like, what is going on? I don't get it. And Missy's trying to calm Laura down, and Eva's trying to calm Karen down. And they just keep on saying the most vile things to each other. Next thing you know, Karen takes off in the car with Eva with her. Laura, because being so angry, next thing you know, she speeds off. So next thing that happens is this car chase leading up to, let me remember the name of this car chase leading up to the big Tujunga Canyon, and that area, which is about 45 minutes away from where they are. Now, it's not unusual for them to go up to this area. It's where sometimes groups of teenagers hang out. So when they're heading up there, Missy and Eva kind of get where they're going. They don't know what's going on or why, but they know where they're heading off to. And Laura's speeding behind Karen and trying to get hold of, Karen and what's going on. And it's all very het up. And after about 10-15 minutes, when Eva and obviously Missy see where they're driving, they know where they're heading, so they just go a bit quiet. Missy realises there's no point trying to calm Laura down. She just sits there and she just lets this journey happen. So as they get to the canyon and they pull into this car park, Karen's already parked there because she's already got there. Laura comes firing in, slams on the brakes really quickly. She jumps out of the car. Karen jumps out of her car. And these two girls are going head to head now. And they're not physically, but verbally. It's just brutal the way they're going at each other. Eva, though, she's not having none of it. She stays in the car. But Missy, while sitting in the passenger seat of Laura's car, she's watching her two best friends, who she's remember since they were 8 years old. And it's breaking her heart to watch these two fighting. She doesn't know why they're fighting, but she can't believe that it's that serious, that they're going at each other like this. So she opens up the car door and she steps out of the car. At that point, Karen and Laura stop. They stop arguing just like that. They turn. They were facing each other. They turn to face Missy and run at her. And as they run at her, Laura goes behind so Missy can't get back into the car. And Karen stands in front of the door so she can't kind of open it and get anywhere. Now she's trapped. Now Missy's trapped. She's got nowhere to go. And Karen kind of whispers to her and she says, we weren't arguing really. Me and Laura are fine. It's you we've got the problem with. So, of course, it's all turned very, very sinister now. Missy's kind of looking, she doesn't get what's going on. She doesn't, why? Why me? What have I done? And she goes, we know you've been sleeping with our boyfriends. Missy hadn't. She hadn't at all. This is all in their minds. That's what this is. All in their minds. So Missy's so confused and she's like, I promise you I'd never do that. I would never do that to you. As she goes to turn, Laura walks up beside her and just punches her straight in the face. Remember what I said, and I have been saying it throughout the story, Missy is tiny. She's 4'10". She's less than 100 pounds. These other two girls, Karen, I believe, is 5'2" and over 200 pounds. And Laura is about 5'6" and she's like 150 pounds. She doesn't stand a chance. So as Laura punches her and Missy falls to the ground, they both jump on her and they start kicking her and punching her. These are her best friends in the world. These are people she's known for over 10 years. And they're kicking her and they're punching her and they're beating her and they're keeping her down. And then next thing you know, Karen kind of steps back and she's got a knife on her. And what she starts doing, she starts hacking at Missy's hair because they know how much she loves her hair. It's kind of the one thing she's really proud of. And she starts hacking at her hair. Well, Laura hasn't got a knife. She's like, what can I do? So she starts pulling her hair out at the root. She just starts yanking it out in clumps. Can you imagine how confused she was? Eva at this point, now you might be wondering, well, there's another girl there. She doesn't do anything. She's not involved. She's not part of this. In fact, it said that when Karen picked her up, she didn't actually know why she was picking her up. She didn't get what was going on, but she went with her. So, but she stays in the car. She's watching all of this. She doesn't try to help. She doesn't try to do anything. She just stays in the car. So at this point now, Laura takes a walk down this path of where they are that leads down to the stream that I mentioned. And she puts her hand in the water and starts waving the water back and forth and was like, come on, Missy, come down here. And of course, Missy is broken and beaten on the floor. Her hair's been hacked to her head. And Karen's like, okay, and she lifts Missy up, which is quite easy. She weighs nothing. She lifts her up, sits her on a rock, and ties her hands behind her back. She ties her up. And then she stands her up and starts moving her towards Laura. And Laura's going, come on, Missy, come in the water with me. Come on. Sinister. I've seen it in the comments earlier. It's the correct word for this whole story. So as Karen, who's kind of pushing Missy towards this stream that Laura's waiting in, they get to the stream, and of course Missy's trying to back off and she's trying to fight against her, but her arms are behind her back. She's beaten. She's still devastated as to what's going on. And she just pushes, Karen just pushes Missy into the water, face first. Now, the water's only 6 to 8 inches deep, so even though Missy's arms are behind her back, she's kind of got her head up above the water and she's trying to lift her legs up. So Karen gets on her legs and she gets on her, and then Karen gets on her legs, Laura gets on her head, and they're trying to force her down. But Missy's fighting. Now at this point, Eva, who's back at the car, she's like, what's going on, and she can't wait anymore, so she gets out the car and she walks down the path and she starts to see what's going on, and she's devastated, and she's like, oh my God, she panics. Rather than even just saying, leave her alone, even just trying, she just turns around and walks back up the path to that car. Who needs friends, eh? Who needs friends at all? So they're struggling with Missy. She's really, even though she's tiny and they're so big, she's really flashing around. And don't forget, this water's not that deep, so she can kind of get her neck out and she can take a breath, and she's letting out these blood-curdling screams as she's managing to take a breath, but they wear her down until she's starting to run out of energy fighting against them. And then they notice off to the right of them, and Karen gets up off Missy's legs, they notice this big 100-pound, 4-foot log. So it's heavier than Missy. It's practically her height. And the two of them, Laura gets off Missy's neck. So Missy, although she's still alive, her energy's completely drained at this moment. They get off, they pick the log up, they walk back over to Missy, one standing on one side, one standing on the other, holding the log, and drop it onto the back of her neck. And obviously she drowns. And then Eva says, because obviously it's Eva relaying all of this to the police, Eva says when she didn't get back into the car, she was stood outside the car, and when she looked, obviously when they'd walked down, it had been Karen, Missy and Laura. Coming back up is only Karen and Laura. No sign of Missy. She saw what they were doing, but she still, I suppose she didn't want to believe that it would end that way. And they come up and they're soaking wet, but you know what they're doing? They're laughing their heads off. They're not disturbed by what they've done to their friend. They were laughing their heads off. They found the whole thing hilarious. Do you want to know how long this had been planned for? Do you remember the rumour I told you about in Missy's sophomore year? And that all these lads she'd supposedly slept with, and the girlfriends found out, and Missy took a real hiding. She took a real hiding from that. Oh, it was Laura and Karen that had made that rumour. They'd started that off. And then there was a second rumour that had gone round as well. And then obviously Karen thinking she was after her boyfriend. Apparently Laura thought she was after hers. And it said that what had happened is these three were very good friends when they were younger. But you know what happens when you get into your teenage years, you start feeling a bit awkward in your body, you know. You might, not look the greatest at 14, 15, 16, you're starting to find yourself, starting to grow. Well, Missy blossomed. She was their friend that just blossomed. She just started to look beautiful in her teenage years, and boys started to like her, and girls started to want to be her friend, and her two friends, it was good old-fashioned just plain jealousy. That's what all of this was over. They were jealous because them two, they weren't bad-looking girls. It wasn't that they just obviously didn't feel comfortable in their own skin, and they just became very, very, very bitterly jealous of their best friend, to the point where they wanted to say, and she took a really bad hiding that year before at the school. They did that. They wanted that to happen. So, oh my God, yeah. So, like I say, they came up laughing, finding the whole thing very funny, which they would because they've had this in the pipeline for a very, very, very long time. So in March of 1990, Karen and Laura were convicted of second-degree murder. This is another question that you might want to have a conversation about, because the jury didn't feel they could convict them on first degree. Now, as far as I know, first degree in some states in America, it's classed, it has to be premeditated to be first degree. How was that not premeditated? How was it not first degree murder? The jury actually said that the jury actually said that they couldn't be sure that the girls meant to kill her. Is that me? Am I confused in this case? They didn't mean to kill her, but they were drowning her. Her hands were tied behind her back. They'd beaten her, and then they put a 100-pound log of wood on the back of her neck, and they didn't mean to kill her. But anyway, they were convicted on second-degree murder, so their sentence was 15 years to life. That was their sentence. Which meant obviously they would have to do 15 years before they were eligible for any sort of parole or anything else. So that's their sentence. Now, I will tell you what's happened since, but let me just tell you another little snippet about Karen and Laura, to be honest, but Karen just got me even more in this story, because when Laura had said that she couldn't find Missy and she'd gone off with these 3 boys and everything else, and when Missy had been found, and the whole community was devastated over it, and they're still looking for these 3 lads and everything else. Do you want to know where Karen was staying and where she lived for quite a while? She moved in with Irene. She moved in Missy's family home. Not only that, she was sleeping in Missy's bed because she told Irene she wanted to be close to them because she missed Missy so much. She needed to be close to them. And they allowed her to move in. They used to sit and eat dinner with her. She sat with this family, knowing full well what she'd done. And Laura, she obviously as well was constantly around the family. And at the funeral, she'd sent a card and put £20 in the card. Neither one of them had a conscience. Neither one of them. It was like, it seems like it was just this game to them. It's like they felt they hadn't done anything wrong, that they'd rid the world of this girl who was ruining their life. What, because she was more attractive than you? Sorry. It's how it happens sometimes. It's luck of the draw. Oh my God. So that was Karen. Okay, so Karen was released on December the 9th, 2011. She did 21 years. Laura, she was released in December 2012. She did 22 years. Okay, I'm not done. Wait until you hear this. So Karen, upon her release, she was promoting to a publisher her memoirs of the murder and her time in prison. And someone was going to publish it. And not only that, she'd been approached by film producers to make a film based on her memoirs. Well, Irene found out about it. Missy's whole family found out about it. Went crazy, sued her in 2015 for all the profits from the sale, as they should. And then not long after that, Missy's Law came into place. And I'll read it out word for word. It basically said, Mrs. Law requires entities who are helping publish work by criminals have to contact victims' families beforehand. I thought they did. I thought that was a thing. I suppose I'd never thought about it. I suppose I'd never considered it, but you would think that directors or producers or book publishers, you would think, given they're in a corporate field, they'd so they'd release a film about a victim from the perpetrator's point of view. Wow. So so that got stopped, like I say. And then I'll tell you what I watched today, because I'd been looking into this for quite a while. And I've seen someone mention Skylar Niece, and it is a very, very, very similar. There's a lot of these stories, to be honest. There's the Slender Man one as well. It's just when friends turn evil, it's crazy. Who do you trust? Who can you trust? But yeah, I watched a Dr. Phil episode. Not a massive fan of Dr. Phil. I can't. Some of his episodes are good, but some of them I just think, oh wow. But anyway, I watched this Dr. Phil episode, and guess who was on there? Karen. Karen was on there. She lives up to her name, Isaiah. And she's obviously, I think it was filmed in 2019, I think. It's hard to tell because it was only put up last year. But it didn't look like it was from 2022. I think it was a couple of years beforehand. But, oh, you should see the little story she's woven in her mind. She said, this is Karen, she blamed it all on Laura. She said it was all Laura. She said she wasn't down at the stream. When Laura was on top of Missy at the stream, and Karen had held her hands up and was like, no, I want no part of this. She said all she did was kicked the log over towards Laura, and then she left and she went up to the car and sat with Eva. You kicked a, you tapped a £100 log over. Is that what you did? Did you? She basically put it all on Laura. This was all Laura. She said she did hit her. She did. She owned up to that. She said she did hit her. And then when he brought up, well, what about hacking her hair, all her hair off? And she's like, well, yeah, I did do that. It was just, the interview was, what's the word? Infuriating. It's the only word I can think of. Infuriating. Because there was just, it was like she was talking about the weather. And I know we've done a lot of these stories where before you know, the crime's been discovered, let's say, you see them talking, or even in the interrogation, you see them talking quite, you know, flippantly about things. It's quite matter of fact. But to have done 20 odd years in prison for what you've done to your best friend, to still come out and be so flippant over it. Do you know, oh, that's what she says. She says, when Missy's body was discovered and Irene called her, because she thought of her as one of Missy's best friends, Irene had called Laura and Karen to say, look, they've found Missy, and, you know, thinking, you know, that she can console them. And when she came round to the house, she says, "Do you know what? Seeing her mum was the worst day of my life." Was he really? Was he really? Was he really? Was it a bad day for you? Right, okay, gotcha. So, yeah, she was just. So when the questions asked, are they rehabilitated and remorse and all the rest of it, none. Didn't see any remorse out of her. The tears she cried very briefly in the interview. It seemed to be tears for herself. And yeah, if you do want to see it's on there. It's I think if you just put in Missy's name, you can see the Dr. Phil interview, but it will leave you fuming when you know what she did and what she took part in. Laura seems to have, although she's been released, I haven't heard anything about Laura at all or seen any more from her. So maybe she's gone under the rock that she needs to be under, and she'll just stay there, hopefully. Eva, don't know anything more about her. I know she didn't do anything, but that's the fact, and we do these stories a lot. She didn't do anything, but she didn't do anything. It's like the two in the Jennifer Doherty case. They didn't actually take part in it. They didn't do anything to help. It's just as bad. It just is. It's just as bad. Yeah. So just when I heard this story, I didn't see it coming. I'll be honest. The way I learned about it, I was like, oh my God, it was a friend. I think what shocked me more was they were the ones who started the rumour the year before. So this has been led up to for a long time. That jealousy had just been seething underneath the surface and just exploded, didn't it? That was the brutal Michele Avila story, Missy story. And I might change the name actually to the brutal Missy Avila story. I might put, because everywhere her name is Missy, so that's what she was known as. So I will put that in the title. But that was her story. When friends turn, and just brutal, just absolutely disgusting, absolutely disgraceful. It's just sorry, I was just having a look at the comments. Yeah, I did notice something a second ago actually on the comments. I'm trying not to put my finger on the camera because it where did I no, sorry. Oh my goodness, no. Right, what am I doing? Sorry, I am trying to. I spotted a comment earlier and I just wanted to have a look. Was it something? Kelly? Oh no, did something like that happen to you? Well, obviously not like that, but so it got me to a party near the end of. Oh, that's awful. Oh, I'm sorry that happened to you, Kelly. I'm really sorry. I didn't have it over a lad. I will say, but I did have a friend in senior school. You should always listen to your parents because my parents did not like her. And we were in year 7 and I'd been invited to stop over at her house. And of course, it was my first sleepover of a non-family member. And went to her house and she had a lot of friends outside of school that I'd never met before. So I went there and I was obviously her best friend in school and I met her best friend out of school and I thought everything was going really well, to be honest. And we walked down into this kind of pub car park. We were young, obviously we were very young. We weren't going to the pub, but it just happened to be down a hill and we're in this pub car park and I noticed that her best friend, I don't know what I'm doing now, he was her best friend, was walking behind me. And I knew there was something very dodgy. And all of a sudden, the friends that she'd met up with were rather than being in a clump, was starting to form a circle. And I was very aware, oh my God, I'm about to be in a fight and I don't know why. And yes, I ended up fighting her best friend for no reason. And after it was finished, I asked my so-called best friend, what was that all about? And she says, we wanted to see if you could fight. I was 11 years old. That was my so-called best friend at school. It's just, yeah. Do you know, I was actually forgotten about that up to that point. Obviously, I was fine, and no one jumped in. It wasn't anything like Kelly's situation at all. And I'm so sorry that happened to you, Kelly. It wasn't like that situation at all, but it was intimidating to see people just appearing, and all of a sudden there's like a circle around me, and I'm like, oh. It took me a second for it to dawn on me what was about to happen, and it was like, they're gonna fight me. But I was so confused. I didn't know why. I was very, very confused by it. Yeah, Tiff, it was just awful. It was just, yeah, it was just a horrible, horrible time. I think senior school is, yeah, senior school is just, it's not the best time. It's not. It's genuinely not. All these people who say school days are the best days of your life. Do you know what I have to say to that? And I don't normally do it. That's what I have to say to that. Because they're not the best days of your life. I suppose if you fly through, I never did. I didn't. And I don't think the majority of people do. I think it's only a dream for the few, let's say. I think for the most people, school's just not that great. Junior school's okay, but senior school's it's just not a good time. It's just really not. It's not. I'd hate to go back to those days. It's just, oh no, though honestly, mine really was nothing like Kelly's. Luckily it was only a one-on-one, luckily. But had it been the whole group, it'd have been a very different kettle of fish, I think, But so it was nothing like Kelly's situation, and it was fine. But yeah, I learned a lesson. I learned not to trust people that quickly again, But I was 11. What did I know? So yeah, it's just, you have to be so careful who you're around, and these friend stories. I think the reason I did this one, I have done the Skylar Niece one, but the reason I've done this one is I have done a lot of stories where it's friends, so-called friends who have befriended people who have learning difficulties, and who are very naive and stuff, I have done those, but I did this one just to show that it can happen to anybody. I mean, Missy was popular. She was beautiful. She had a great family. I think it just shows that it can happen to anybody. And you just have to be aware, and, no matter what age you are, I think that's what it shows. But yeah, that was Michele, Avila, Missy. Michele, Missy, Avila story. And thank you all for being with me again. Look at the time. But yes, you have got a support network here, Kelly. You absolutely have. And I feel like that's what we've got going on here the past couple of months. I feel like we've got like a nice little group going on, and it is lovely that you spend so much time with me, because I do ramble. I genuinely thought this would be a shorter story, but I have rambled and rambled the night away. But we're going to finish on a lighter note. Do you know what why? Do you want to know why? Go on, Tiff. What we're going to do? What we're about to do, Tiffany? Tell them all. Tell everyone what we're about to do. Come on. Any newcomers, you must tell them what we're about to do. You can't just say no. Let me fix the hair because it's about to. Yes. Yes, Tiffany. It's that time of a Thursday evening on Jess Rose Day where we have to. We ready? Like, comment, and subscribe, please. That's my pose, please. There it is. Like, comment, subscribe, dance. Ooh, ooh. I don't know what that was. Oh, I got really carried away then. That's my dance. It's my dance. I've got it. I've got to stop with that. Don't forget to everyone's like, yes, please. Yes, like, comment, subscribe, everyone. And if you are watching tomorrow, it's getting out of control. If you are watching tomorrow and you have lasted this long, which would be great, could you no. If you're watching tomorrow, could you like, comment, and subscribe? And if you're watching now, I can see some people have liked it. Could you just go in and check after the video is published and just pop a like in there? Apparently it's a thing. It's a thing that we have to do. And I don't know how to do it without doing this. So, okay, look, comment, subscribe, please. There we go. But thank you all again for joining me, and be back next Thursday at 9 o'clock. Why did I say 9? It's not 9, 8 o'clock. My God, Jessica, I got myself so excited with the like, comment, subscribe thing then. My brain's completely gone. At 8 o'clock next Thursday for Jess Rose Day. I'll let you know a bit earlier on what story I'm doing. I was very late again tonight announcing it, so I'll do it earlier. And yeah, thank you all again, and thank you all for what you do in the comments and stuff. It's lovely to say, it really is. Like, I know I'm not obviously commenting as it's going along, but I can kind of see them at the corner of my eye, and it is lovely how you're all having a little chat and stuff. It's nice. It makes it easier for me. It really does. It makes it really easy for me. Giving it to live, it's not nice that you're all sort of chat amongst each other, so it's very nice. So like, comment, subscribe, and I know it's this, I know, I can't believe it, there's still people watching. I don't know what's going on. And yeah, I'll see you all next week. Take care. Thank you again. The jingle is getting to me, Phil. It's that right. Good night all. Good night.